And now for the Spotlight segment of Homeland Security Inside and Out, something a little unusual. We're going to London to talk to Raj Babbra, who has made a documentary film about the impact of the bombings that took place in the London subway and on the buses. I'm going to let him tell us more details about that. Raj, thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Well, Raj, how about it? Give us an overview of your project, and then we'll ask, sort of get into how this got started and a little bit about the participants. But what exactly is the project that you're engaged in?
The project, it's a documentary I made earlier this year. The documentary, it shows the effects of terrorism on everybody involved in the London one. However, it is metaphorical for anybody affected by terrorism anywhere in the world. And the project initially had started as a documentary, but now it's going on. We want to create a charity as well, which is going to help people regenerate their lives who have been affected by terrorism.
So a lot of course, a lot of media attention and a lot of terrorism attention is focused on the act itself or on the actors. But you've gone beyond that to show what happens afterwards to the families and the loved ones left behind.
Yeah, it's done in actually a different way, actually, but that is part of it. It's shown in such a way that it shows my ex-girlfriend's life, Benedetta. It shows her life going through from childhood by her family, friends, talking about what she was like and some video footage and a personal story about how we met, going through to her death and showing the effects it's having on people as well. So it's, in a way, it's giving an experience of what it's like to see someone, what they're like before a terrorist attack, and see how that affects people who are in her circle who are suffering as a result of her being killed in a terrorist attack.
Well, a lot of times the part that's left out is the humanness of the actual victims. So it's interesting that you went after that. Raj, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to conceive and pursue this project.
It started on a course I went on to. It was about making a community project. Typically, these projects, they'd be based in your own communities. I decided to do one based on the 7/7 community, as that was one that I was very passionate about. The
7/7, some of our listeners may not know, 7/7 was the anniversary. That was the 7th day of the 7th month when the attack took place in the subways and the buses. In the same way we think of 9/11, in Britain you think of 7/7.
Exactly, yeah. It's the same term we use, 7/7. I was very passionate about that one, and I decided to make a documentary which is going to highlight the aspects about losing someone in such an attack and have it shown on that anniversary of 7/7. That was this year. I only had 3 months to make it. I have no film background, no film crew, no film budget. I had absolutely nothing in my favour to make this documentary, but within 3 months, I'd kept my word, and I'd found a film crew, got a film budget, flown around to Italy, filmed around London, and produced it and shown it at the anniversary. And it was screened as part of the official anniversary as well.
So I understand, Raj, that part of this is about the survivors, the family, the extended family, friends. You know, in the United States, we're always talking about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes.
In your research, have you discovered that in the family members, people who weren't involved in the incident but still have long-term psychological effects?
The family members, I personally can't be saying if they've got PTSD, but I can clearly say that the way they are as people is completely changed, and you can clearly see that it's had such a major impact on them that they're going through their lives every day in a different way that they used to. The laughter's gone, the way they are has changed. In the documentary as well, though, there is a lady there who stresses the effects PTSD has had on that she has with PTSD as a result of being just present at the bombings, which was on the Underground at Edgware Road. She talks about that and how she hasn't really slept for 3 years.
We're talking with Raj Babbra, who has made a documentary film about the impact that the subway bombings in London had on the people who are survivors and the families who survived. Raj, what kind of response have you had from the families? Has this been, have you had an outpouring of support? Have you had people who preferred to keep their grief private? What was their response to you?
It's a strange one. The people who are going to the screening on the 3rd anniversary, I had a very sort of reluctant kind of atmosphere at first. A lot of people didn't know what they were getting into. They're very hesitant. But once they've actually seen the documentary, there was 100% support for it. Everybody was so moved by what they saw. People were in tears. A lot of people were just saying it's the most powerful thing that they've ever experienced watching. And I've had a lot of feedback since then from people saying that they want this shown in other countries around the world. And they think it's going to benefit a lot of people to see this documentary.
Well, Raj, I understand you want to bring it to the United States.
That's correct. Because we've had so much positive support saying take it to other countries, the idea is to take it to New York for this 9/11 anniversary. With 6 weeks planning, though, it's been near impossible to actually get something organised. We have been trying extremely hard. We're hoping to get there for next week, but whether or not we'll be able to do it this year is going to be another story, because just the amount of money we need to raise, and we've got problems with the flights, accommodation, and actually getting it screened there in 6 weeks. It's just so much. I think we might have to put it off till next year unless something happens this year.
Raj, in a lot of countries, or I've heard a lot of people talk about the potential in a lot of countries to try to turn the tide against terrorism by explaining its impact on people. Is there any reason to believe that this might have some effect in that regard?
I've actually had a lot of people say they think that it might do. What I think it's going to do is make people actually realise the value of each life. Because the way the documentary is explained, it shows Benedetta's life. It shows what she was like as a person. And I think what we have in society nowadays is to know that people have died. Like at 9/11, I think it was around 3,000 people died, and it was on television. But you still can depersonalize that because you don't know any of them. Well, the majority of people don't know any of those people. So although they've witnessed something horrible, they don't have that same thing that a family member, for example, will get from losing someone. So what this documentary is doing is allowing you into that circle of an experience of getting to know Benedetta and getting to know her family, her friends, and seeing the impact on them. But then at the same time understanding that this was one life, and then you just magnify that across the whole world of all the people who are dying in terrorism, and it starts to put a new perspective onto the way you can start thinking about 3,000 lives in 9/11 and 52 lives in 7/7.
What's the name of the film, Raj?
The film is called Life Without Benedetta.
Life Without Benedetta. And what's a website where people might learn more?
I'll have to spell it for you. It's BENEDETTA, then a hyphen, and then CIACCIA.com.
And that was her name, Benedetta Chacha.
Yeah, Benedetta Chacha.
We've been talking with Raj Babbra, who has made a documentary film about his friend Benedetta Chacha, who was lost in the 7/7 bombings in Great Britain. Thank you, Raj, for being with us.
Thank you very much.